everybody. Thanks very much for watching our talk today. We are Ranjana and Paul Hodkinson from the University of Surrey, where we've spent the last few years researching perinatal mental health in a variety of different projects. So father's perinatal mental health, mother's perinatal mental health. And we've sort of brought these findings together in a fantastic new partnership to develop sort of practical outcomes of this work with the IHV and the NCT. And in today's talk, we are going to look at some of our work with the IHV.
Okay, yeah, and so in a moment, we're just going to tell you a little bit about the research projects that have kind of led to this partnership with the IHV, and then talk you through really the process of developing these, what we hope will be extremely sort of useful, quite sort of exciting factographics that we have kind of collaborated on the creation of. We're going to kind of go through the process and then hopefully be able to show you the factographics and talk you through the kind of rationale for the way that we did them the way that we did. Okay, so Factographics then, a partnership between the University of Surrey and the IHV. So the research that has kind of fed into this focuses on sort of three projects, really. A project on mental health, taboos, and British South Asian mums. And here, the key findings sort of emphasised people's sort of pressures that they felt to sort of be the perfect mum, to mother perfectly, but also specific pressures relating to a discourse around the notion of a baby as a blessing, something that should be a time of joy, something which one should be sort of enormously sort of grateful for, and the problems that can create where people do struggle and then sort of feel unable to express those struggles. Also kind of broader issues about feeling monitored, feeling kind of sort of surrounded by people to some extent and not feeling able to really speak out, and cultural roadblocks in feeling understood. The second project was about new fathers, mental health and digital technologies. This project really brought out the way in which many fathers can feel quite sort of marginal and peripheral to the perinatal process amid sort of limited preparation and support oriented towards them. The feeling that this is not about me, many fathers talked about, and that sort of connected also to pressures to be a supporter, to be the sort of supportive rock who doesn't ever need support himself, and the kind of problems that both of those things kind of created in relation to fathers feeling that it wasn't valid really for them to be sort of seeking support for problems that they were having, because it wasn't supposed to be about them, and they're supposed to be this rock-like supporter. The third project was on having a baby during a pandemic and the kind of additional problems that can kind of create for people, including, of course, heightened isolation, various unmet needs, lack of sort of professional support, many people experiencing closed down services, also lack of ability to kind of get out and talk to other parents and so on. A lack of privacy in the home because so many people are around all the time. The exclusion of fathers and partners from key moments during the perinatal process, which kind of leads to various difficulties, and the move to digital services, providing something, but not sort of replacing all of the things that people might get in a kind of face-to-face situation. So we have been trying to sort of bring various of these findings into kind of practice to try and sort of help the situation of new parents in various ways. And this has involved a collaboration with the NCT and the IHV and is funded by the Economic and Social Research Council. And one of the kind of key sort of projects that we've been involved in as part of this has been the IHV Factograpics project, where we're really sort of trying to develop some accessible, engaging, interactive resources to support good parental mental health and well-being that builds on some of the sort of specific kind of findings and needs that are identified in these research projects that we've described. So this, of course, is not sort of universal or exhaustive. There are many other sort of needs, many other issues that we could have focused upon, but we did sort of focus on what came out from these particular research projects, really. We wanted the factographics very much to sort of combine image, video, personal stories to make them as engaging and as relatable as possible, hopefully, and to make them available in a variety of formats. And we sort of envisaged that they might be used directly by parents online on their own, or by practitioners and parents in their interactions with one another, which might be sort of either face-to-face or online. And this was very much a kind of collaborative creative process, which involved parents and professionals sort of producing something for professionals and parents too. We did workshops at a couple of sort of IHV champions forums where we sort of bounced around sort of various ideas and developed sort of thinking on this. We had a parent professional working group which became sort of central to the project through sort of establishing initial parameters and principles, and then going back to sort of feedback on prototypes of the factographics at a later point. Lots and lots of discussion, lots and lots of involvement, a variety of voices and people, we hope. Okay, so the factographics themselves, and just to note that these are still sort of in draft at the moment, although we hope that they're nearly there, but we'll try and sort of demonstrate them now. Okay, so the new Fathers factographic really sort of focuses upon, I guess, sort of reminding fathers or letting them know that they're not alone if they're sort of experiencing struggles of one kind or another, and asking them how they're feeling, which is something that arguably could happen more often with fathers throughout the perinatal process. We've also tried to sort of incorporate some of those specific research findings to sort of speak to dads about how they may be feeling like a little bit peripheral here, like dad at the side of the room where mum's sort of having conversation with health professional, and dad feeling, you know, like the supportive rock that he's got to sort of bear the burden of mother and baby and therefore can't sort of require support himself. So you can click these, and then there's some text that sort of addresses these questions too and sort of tries to highlight the importance of seeking support. We wanted to sort of emphasize to fathers that health visitors are very much there for them too, because that's something that many fathers say, that they don't see health visitors in that way. They sort of assume that they're there to support their partner primarily and the baby. And there are some videos that here sort of included in the factographics, so people can sort of have a look at other people's testimonies of the experiences that they've had. And then some links to support, which we may sort of well add to over time.
Thank you, Paul. So our next factographic is called "A Baby is a Blessing, So Why Do I Feel This Way?" So this emerged out of a project which worked with a small number of mothers who had sort of migrated to England from elsewhere, and who who had lots of sort of family members around them who might offer them practical help, but who often would tell them that a baby is a blessing, or they felt that they were constantly hearing that their baby is a blessing, that they should be grateful for, and that they mustn't ever complain. So the Blessings factographic, as we've come to call it, has this component on the left where we show a mum in a crowd with a baby, and all these thoughts are going on in her head, that everybody's saying my baby is a blessing and I mustn't complain, and what might people think of us if I say I'm depressed, or I wish I had some privacy to talk to my health visitor. And then when you click on it, you see the broader findings that came out of the research, where we are telling people that it's okay to struggle even if you're hearing that your baby is a blessing. It's possible that you're surrounded by a crowd but you're still not understood, but that your feelings matter, and to reach out. And just to say that other mums are struggling too, and we have here a fantastic parent story from a new mum, Maria, who shares her difficult journey and experiences, and we have a translation of Maria's video in English available in the video description. And one of the many things that Maria says is that whenever I wish to share my feelings and concerns, I was told I was ungrateful and that my baby was a blessing. And then once again, we link to support, which is out there for people, and like with other factographics, it's available to download as a PDF, and it's of course available in a mobile version. So this then brings us back to our final factographic, which particularly addresses new parents' needs amidst the pandemic. New parent during the pandemic is what we call it. And in this one, really, we are trying to reflect research that was done with mothers who became new mothers during the pandemic. Some of them gave birth alone. Some of them faced a complete sort of retreat and withdrawal of postnatal support services, and the heightened anxiety and the heightened isolation that they faced. So the findings from that research are kind of fed through in a similar style of this particular factographic, which I can hopefully now demonstrate to you. So as you see on the left, we've got these icons, these images where you can see sort of that feeling of being locked in inside a cage almost. Grandparents elsewhere, locked in. New parents struggling with a crying baby, locked in. And then really asking parents, how are you feeling? Because things have been made so extra difficult, and just saying that everything that we heard in the research, in the interviews, that some said that they felt robbed of what pregnancy or what new parenthood might mean. Partners feeling excluded from appointments, mothers feeling alone and sort of vulnerable when they are away from everybody, being cut off from family, cut off from friends, being cut off from essential support services, And sometimes being locked in with everybody at home and not having privacy to have a remote support conversation in the way that you might have had at a clinic, at a baby vein clinic, or at a GP surgery, for example. So all those findings around lockdown, the lack of alone time, children at home, being cut off from support, and the heightened isolation and anxiety is something that this factographic grasps. We are saying that other parents are struggling too in the purple box, as you see, where a mum is about to give birth by herself in a mask, where dad is on an iPad inside his car. And once again, we are indicating that there is different kinds of support. And again, there's a list of support services that we provide, as we do with all the factographics, and once again available to download and in a mobile view. If you did click on this box that said other parents are struggling too, you will see two great parent stories from Danny and Simon, who became new parents during the pandemic, talking about their feelings and talking about their experiences and difficulties becoming new parents in a pandemic. And again, really valuable experiences and really valuable stories. So really, those were the factographics, and one of the things we wanted to mention was that the Blessings factographic we are intending to translate and make available in translated versions in key South Asian languages, so that we hope will be really useful for people from different communities. And for this team effort, of course, huge thanks to the multidisciplinary, multi-sector team that was involved, so us as academics, but of course our parents who gave us the fantastic parent stories, and the professionals, of course, at the IHV who helped us in so many ways, and of course our funders, the ESRC Impact Acceleration Account. Over this month, over the month of May, we will sort of launch and trial and evaluate these factographics, and we'll continue that evaluation as impacts begin to trickle in. And these factographics are in draft, so please do not screenshot them or circulate them in any way, if we might request that of you. And Paul and I are planning a grand end of project conference in September for our broader project, of which factographics were one part. And stay tuned for more. And more broadly, Paul and I, as sort of researchers who are interested in families and parents, we are open to talking about opportunities. We'll take time to think about what might come next. And even if it's not within perinatal mental health, even if it's something different to do with parents and families, we are open to talk about ideas and questions. So do please write to us if you have any questions or comments or ideas at all. And thank you very much for watching.